You are now rocking with the best, back again with another 9.9 episode. Welcome to Heroes After Dark, where we discuss life, love, and the pursuit of comic grails. Before we begin, thank you for joining us. If you will, please hit that like button. Better yet, smash that like button like you're launching Cerebro. And of course, you got to touch the subscribe like it's the Daily Bugle. The heroes are assembled tonight, and we've got something extra special. Our dear friend Real Deal was at a significant event, an invite only. This is a big deal, y'all. Where it wasn't a con. It was bigger than a con. It was mega grails. This is the big boy books. This is the stuff that not many of us get to see live and in person. He attended the Collectors Summit of 2023 in Dallas, Texas, the largest mega grail comic event in the United States, and he's gonna talk to us about this. This is gonna be incredible. So, Real Deal, you gotta let us know, how was it?
It was different. It was different, totally different. You know, normally you go to a con, you see tons of books, tons of vendors. This was very unique. It was my first time ever attending something like this at Heritage Auction House. That was a location where they had this summit. So it was pretty cool. It's a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. From 6 to 9, Saturday was a preview. And what was kind of cool was we kind of entered the room, this one room, not huge, but Heritage Auction did tours of their whole facility. Heritage does auctions with sports memorabilia, comics, art, you name it, they auction it off. So we had a special tour where they took us around in small groups, so we got to see kind of the inner workings of how Heritage worked, which was pretty unique and pretty cool. So you got a chance to see stuff that not a lot of people get to see. So that was kind of the preview night, and also we had some vendors that were setting up as well. So we kind of mingled, saw who was in the room. So I had a chance to kind of talk to a few people Friday and Saturday that were there. And again, this was a different type of setup because it was very small and attendance. I would say maybe 50 to 100 people were there.
Wow.
So pretty small. And the books that people were bringing were books that I've never seen in person.
So no dollar bin books.
No dollar bin books.
So none of that digging through for the shorts to find the little 1 in 25 variant. Respectfully.
No. Yeah, no. There was some stuff I've never seen as far as you either look at books from the 30s, and we're not talking about comic books. We're talking about regular books, hardbound books, stuff like that you would not think that would be valuable, but some of these guys were paying a lot of money for just regular books you would not even think that were anything. So it was pretty unique experience. It was very heavily based on, I would say, Golden Age stuff. So you didn't see any there was very little modern. I mean, if it was modern, it's a 9.8 CGC, like a 300. I saw one of those 9.8. And a lot of the books are horror comics.
Pre-code.
Pre-code art. And that was a big thing because those are so rare now, because a lot of those were destroyed during that time, that, you see some pre-code stuff that you're like, wow, I've never seen stuff in person. That many horror books, Golden Age books, pre-code books. I've just never seen that many in one spot at one time. Normally you go to a con, there might be one person that has some Golden Age stuff, but the stuff that was moving was stuff that I did not know. Because you had a separation, I would say, between the hero stuff and then like the horror stuff or pre-code stuff. And I saw a lot of that moving more than the hero stuff, as far as like you had a few Batmans and Supermans and stuff like that, but mostly people were doing the Golden Age and the pre-code stuff. So
more rare stuff.
Absolutely.
So there was
Did you happen to see any early Human Torch by any chance?
Yeah. I saw. I think I've had some. took some video, got some stuff, talked to a few people, and
Yeah, Miller got to meet a lot of people over there.
Yeah.
So you made some friends.
Yeah. In that intimate environment, you kind of walk around, 5 to 10 minutes, you've seen everything. So then you get a chance to start talking to people, kind of ask them some questions, why they're there, what they're looking for. And then some people that also are on YouTube, some people that sell on Instagram were there. So I had a chance to kind of pick their brain, see what, they were there for. And so, yeah, it was a great experience.
So,
I'm sorry. So with that being said, should we take a look at one of the videos of one of the IG folks that you met over there?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look at Blue Chip.
All right, we got Nico here with Blue Chip.
What's happening?
So couple quick questions. What brought you to Collector Summit this year?
Man, you know what? It's crazy. I heard about this last year. I regretted not coming then. I realized there were so many big books here, incredible dealers, just an amazing event altogether, first class. Last night was exceptional. It was preview night. Guys, I got to tell you, the only thing that was missing was you.
Great. That's awesome to hear. Are there any books you're looking for at this summit this year?
Yeah, so I got a Captain America #3, first written work by Stan Lee in comics. Jacked out of my face about that. I wanted that for a while. Picked up one of those. Sold some, traded some Golden Age, sold some stuff. So it was a great event overall. I mean, I'm very happy already. We just started day 2. I could literally have gone home last night and would have felt like this was already a home run.
Great. Well, thank you, Blue Chip. Thanks for being here, and hopefully we'll see you next year.
You got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're with the mess head, bro.
Yeah.
Captain America #3.
It's like, I got one. I'm like, wait, you
can go home that same day and be all right.
yeah.
Amazing.
This is the best con ever.
And Nico from Blue Chip, he was pretty cool. We had a chance to hang out throughout the day. That day, he kind of jumped in with us, me and a couple other guys. We drove around Dallas, showed him some stuff. He's from the West Coast, so it was cool to hang out with him and kind of seeing some of the books he brought. He brought a Batman #1, a Superman #1, like stuff like that I got a chance to hold in my hand and talk to. And they do a lot of sales on Instagram, and he's a dealer as well, so he'll go around town go around to cons and sell books and stuff like that. So yeah, it was cool.
Now, real deal, did you he talked about trading. Did you see a lot of people trading books, and how was that in a sense?
Yeah, so there was, everyone had their books out pretty much, and people can walk by and kind of look at what they had. So I saw a lot of people trading with either cash and books or just straight up books. But when cash is involved, it's a large amount of cash. People were bringing out tons of money. And I think Nico made a good deal as far as a trade and some cash for a Batman #1 that I witnessed. And the guy that I talked to later, he had a chance to talk to him. That was one of his grails he was looking for. So it was pretty cool to see that happen. And kind of, you see people that were possibly chasing a book they've always wanted. It was at this con. It was for the guys that have been in the game or been in the industry a long time, and they know what books they're kind of looking for, hunting for, and they had a chance to pick some of those up this weekend.
Now, something for, I guess, for me and maybe other people out there, because they're like, you hear Batman 1, you hear Superman 1, you hear 330, 35. For my numbers guys, how much are we talking? If somebody said, hey, I'm looking at a Batman #1,
I thought you'd never
ask. What number are we talking about? How much are we talking about? You say the trade in cash and a lot of cash.
Yeah,
a lot of cash.
I know that. So the Batmans in the room were lower grade. So the Batmans that I saw were about a 1.8, and I think those were selling for about 165.
Yeah, a 0.5. A 0.5 is $42,000.
Yeah. So
a 0.5.
Yeah. So that was the kind of cash that people had, probably at least $100,000 on them in cash. There's you just watch stuff that happened. I was just amazed. I just sat back and was like, wow, these people are really invested in this, in this hobby industry and really want these books, and they'll do whatever it takes to get it. So, there were some people on YouTube there that were present in the building. That you guys will recognize. And,
you know what? Yeah. Speaking of, that's a good segue. Let's go to one of them.
I'm here with Jeff, and what brought you to the show this year, Jeff, at Collector Summit?
Well, the Collector Summit, it's a really young show, but it's growing to be one of the best shows in the country. The selection of books here is by far the best I've ever seen. And it's pretty incredible to see the amount of people that are enjoying themselves in a very friendly environment that's very comic focused. So to not be here as a comic fan would be tough for me to say no to.
Okay. Jeff, is there any books you're looking for this year?
Always. I'd love to get a Suspense 3, Fantastic Comics 3, just some of the ultra grails out there that a lot of people are looking for when you're heavy in the golden age.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Hopefully see you next year.
Heck yeah, you will.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeff from Comic Tom, he's been on there, and we had a chance to kind of talk a little bit off camera about some of the videos that him and Tom have done, Comic Tom, and he just bought a huge collection. I know there's a video that he did with Tom about buying a huge collection up there, and he had some of those books there that were pretty cool. So we had a chance to talk about his experience with CGC, because he sent a lot of those books off and kind of all the expenses he incurred, kind of trying to get those graded, and pretty cool guys. So it's cool to
Well, I don't know if you guys noticed the prices on the books behind them.
Oh, I noticed. I peeped.
$10,000, $8,000. Which, by the way, I don't mean to sound like an elitist, but $8,000 for a book is not too far away from reach. So there were some affordable books, if you will, considering there was a transaction for something over $70,000. An $8,000 book is pretty reasonable, and it could be someone's entry level into the golden age market. And that's pretty much probably how you get started, is get into what you can afford, that you're looking forward to having, and then you link up with people like him, because that's his jam. I mean, there's a reason why he calls himself the golden age guru. And he seems very approachable. I think he's the kind of person that probably you can reach out to on IG and hey, any suggestions or things like that. So
he was pretty knowledgeable about the books he had and kind of what he was kind of after looking for, and very chill guy. But it's one of those things where if you're trying to get into that golden age collecting, starting with the lower end book and kind of saving and maybe moving that and getting to a bigger book, and that's kind of how you, especially on that level, you kind of have to start a little small, and kind of know your stuff and what you're looking for. So,
I mean, that's definitely a book you could. I mean, you could trade into an $8,000 book.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, that's not impossible, but 42,000.
Maybe a little.
That's a little high. It's different. I might have to trade, the whip outside.
You have to trade your whole collection for one book. But
trade the collection plus a car.
But you said it. It is in reach. It's like if the lowest book is 1,000, if you got 3,000, 3 books valued at $1,000 plus, then that's what, a little cash you got to come up with, and you have an $8,000 book on hand. So it's definitely doable.
The only question there though becomes, do you have anything that they want? Because I'm gonna probably follow the Pedro model, which is silver for silver, golden for golden. So if you're trying to get a golden, you probably don't want to come with you probably don't want to come with
Fallout
Copper.
Or modern. You don't come with a Miles Morales. Unless it's the incentive. Unless it's the $40,000 incentive.
No.
You might see something.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, as long as you have, because that was something else he said too. It's like, and we all know, it's like, how fast can you move it, right? If you come in with some 9/8s, if they're, I don't know, a hot modern or a hot silver age book that is going to move, You know, you got that first Catwoman, Silver Age Catwoman, got that first Poison Ivory. You know, you got some nice grades on that. You're trying to get into that golden age. That's something that'll move. I think someone will be, you know.
So that's a good point for him. I was with a gentleman that had a Wonder Woman #1, and no one in the show had one. So that brought a lot of eyes, attention to that book. It was a low grade, but what he wanted was about $20K, and people didn't shy away from that number.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So he cashed out.
Huh?
He cashed out.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody went home with it, huh?
Someone did. He did settle. He did kind of make a deal, and that book is no longer in his possession. But yeah, it was one of those books that no one else had there. So it's kind of one of those things where a show like that, you need to bring some stuff that you don't see every day. I know there's a lot of golden age stuff, but you know that type of book is one that people were kind of looking and really had a lot of questions for. So it was cool to see that happen.
So now I'm curious, when the trades are happening, are they're looking actively on GPA, or I mean, because some of these books, it's not like you're going to find an eBay sale.
Yeah.
A detective.
Yeah.
So how are they trying to determine what a fair market value is?
I mean, there was a little bit of GPA I saw, just a little bit, but some of these books, some of the horror books, you can't, and you just have to know. It's kind of you just going in knowing what that book goes for and what you've seen it last sell for. So you kind of have to go off of that knowledge, because those books don't move every day. You know, those aren't common books you see on eBay or in the market. Those are kind of for me, I thought more of a specialty book, as far as like, you know what you want, you kind of know the price, and you kind of have a game plan going in trying to purchase that book. So, and some of the actual books, you know, there was no data for, you know, so we'll see kind of where that industry goes, as far as if it's going to be graded on a census, or, you know, because there was people like, I don't know how much this book is. And so they were actually asking other dealers that were kind of in that realm, as far as how much is this worth? How much is this worth? So they can kind of get a sense of how much is this book from 1932 worth.
So they were trying to get baselines.
Yeah,
I like that. They're leaning on the community itself to kind of come up as a group, as a collective, what they consider the price on that particular rare book that they probably never all saw, you know, face to face or whatever. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at another person you got to meet over there.
All right, I'm here with Eric, and I'm going to ask him a couple questions. So, Eric, what brought you to Collector Summit this year?
One, the books to the people, but the books, I'm always on the hunt for a couple bakers I don't have, and I can't turn away a pretty face, so sometimes I'll upgrade.
What
at
books
least
are you
my
looking
comic
for?
books, not my women. Comic books, wife, you know, just to be clear.
There you go. What books are you looking for this year?
So I brought up some really good books like a Daredevil 190 and a Flash 2. And so I might get some of them graded, and if I see something that I really have to have, I'll trade them. But that's the joy of these type of things. You don't know what you're going to see. And of course, if I see one of those 10 bakers, I don't have upgraded Teenage Romance already, so some upgrade opportunities. Maybe I'm looking for a Beware 10 that looks nice. So maybe a Frazetta cover. You know, I'm an artist guy, so if I see something really cool cover-wise, I start, you know, pulling out some cash or some books to trade.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Eric. Hope to see you here next year.
Thanks, Ralph. Bye.
Yeah. You can hear some of the books he was kind of looking for, and some of the stuff I was like, I don't have a clue what he's talking about. Like, I'm like, okay, let me look up that book, because it's something that is kind of not in my wheelhouse as far as what I'm buying right now, kind of collecting. And
Beware 10. That's like a 1950 book.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of it, but
yeah.
Did you get inspired? Are you considering dipping your toes into the golden age?
Not yet. There's a lot of stuff I have to research and kind of start doing my homework on, because some of the stuff don't know the value and covers and condition and stuff like that. And you know, he was into buying the Baker books and some of the covers he was looking for, and so it was cool to hear kind of how he collected and what he does. He sells a lot of books on Instagram as well. So, you know, guys, go check him out on Instagram. So he's pretty cool. He's one, and it was funny because we were talking. We had a chance also to visit Comic Link, and so we had a chance to go over and see their facility, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. We had a chance. I had a chance to talk to him about why he was there, and he kind of rode with us throughout the day, and he jumped in the ride and we drove around Dallas, and it was kind of one of those cool things. So it was kind of a cool experience.
Let's take a look at another run of one of the guys over there.
All right, I'm here with John. John, what brought you to Collector Summit?
I've been collecting since I was a kid in 1989. Thankfully, I live here locally, so this is the best convention that I think exists, and I'm grateful it's so close to home. It's a great way to get together with the community, meeting a lot of folks in person I know. Yeah, it's been great, and a great venue, great tour. Love it.
Great. What books are you looking for?
Mainly very, very early Golden Age Batman and tech. I'm after Golden Age Joker covers and villain covers, but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming to Collector Summit this year.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Have you guys noticed? Everybody knew what they were looking for so far.
Always had a plan.
Yeah, quick to answer. Everybody already knew.
Yeah. He was cool. John was cool. He bought a big book, and I think he traded in some cash with Blue Chip, and they made a big deal happen. So it was cool to see, and they were kind of talking. John sells books as well on Instagram. So on his Instagram page, you can see all the books he kind of moves, but he's kind of more of a heroes guy. You can see a lot of his stuff with Batman. He kind of focuses on Batman, and yeah, it was a pretty cool show, and it was cool to see people's reaction to seeing some of the books that they, you might see online, and be able to hold them and touch them and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
It's interesting because there's a pattern here where all these collectors of these mega grails, they're not buying Marvel books, they're buying DC, which is the exact reverse in our circles, where there's this kind of look at disdain on DC as I got a DC book in back of me. Shout out to Batman. But why do you think that? Because
I mean, I had a chance to talk to a couple of people, and they were saying that right now they feel like the Heroes comic books, as they put it in, Heroes as a comic book and in general, are kind of on a down. And I don't know if it's because of the movies or because of what maybe DC and Marvel, the kind of the big boys, are doing in that realm that's kind of hurting the comic book somewhat. And they're kind of more after those golden age, maybe that aren't a Marvel or DC main book, as far as like some horror stuff and stuff like that. So they're kind of more on that golden age, those kind of books. So they're kind of focusing more on their collection on that kind of stuff. And so that kind of stuff was really, really moving. And people weren't really buying a ton of the superhero stuff. They weren't really, that was not moving as much.
Well, something that you just kind of mentioned for both, you just mentioned that a lot of people were going for that Batman, like he just said it. And then a few other people was like, yeah, I was looking for that other Batman that he did a trade for. Do you think from a DC versus Marvel, now knowing that horror and, like as was mentioned, there's other books outside of the superhero realm, but just in the fact of DC versus Marvel, it seems like, as Nilf was saying, that it seems like more people might be into getting more DC golden versus Marvel.
Yeah, it seemed like that at this con. Like everyone was really, those Supermans, those early Batmans, those were the books that were really moving. I didn't see a lot of Marvel books moving. I mean,
did people have them? Did people had X-Men?
People had them, but like, I mean, we've all seen X-Men #1s. You can kind of see those a lot. Fantastic Four, you see those. But some of the DC stuff you don't see as much of. I can't think of a time where I've seen a ton of Batman #1s or Superman #1s out there, but I've seen a ton of X-Men ones, a ton of Fantastic Four ones. And I don't know if it was the time period, being Batman's and Superman's being older, but those were the kind of the DC stuff was really moving.
So what I'm hearing from you guys is don't sleep on DC. Grab your DC keys while you can.
That's right.
Because there will be a time, there will be a shift.
Yeah, especially if you can find those older books too. People wanted those old.
So I think what's going on is, so these guys are ahead of us because they figured it out a long time ago. It's going back to what we were just saying. You can find an FF, whether you can buy it or not. You can find it, right?
Yeah.
You go to any con, you'll see FF1, you'll see Avengers #1, X-Men #1.
Yep.
And those are grails. They are. But then there's other subgenre of grails, right? There's the grails that everybody knows, and then there's the grails that actually set up the grails that everybody knows. And I think these guys are going for the things that actually created the market. They created the industry. And what is that? DC, early DC, right?
Predates Marvel.
In the day, like I may not be a DC collector, but without that, there wouldn't be this. So these guys are way ahead of us. They've been digging in that, and hence the reason why they have a full wall of Golden Age books, right? Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I think Forum is right. Don't sleep on it. It's still not too late. Go as far as back as you can afford. Grab the ones that you can that matter to you, right? And make sense. And I think it's a collection you can be proud of. That you can go, hey, you want to take a look at my 2 boxes of Golden Age books that I have? Yeah, that's super cool. Why not?
And what you were saying, it predates Marvel. So people are asking for, hey, I'm looking for Batman 2 through 10. That kind. Those are the people who are asking those kind of books, right? Like
2 through 10.
Yeah, that's those. And people were like, "Oh, I got them," or "I got most of them," or
"What?
These are the grades I have on them." It was that kind of stuff, and you were like, "Man, overhearing conversations, you're like, these people kind of are really focused on what they want and kind of what they're looking for." So,
you know what? That's a good segue to the following clip. Let's take a look.
All right, I'm here with Adam at Collector Summit. Adam, what brought you to Collectors Summit this year?
Just to be with the community. We're making a film called Selling Superman. So as part of the film, I just wanted to be here and meet all the top collectors and support Darren and the Fantastic Collection, which is what the film revolves around. So it's nice to meet people like yourself and, just see the happiness. That's what I love.
Is there any books that you've seen that you've been in awe of?
In awe of? Wow. Anytime I see a Superman 1, I get a little giddy because that's what the film revolves around, and Darren's 7.0, and we've handled it, and it's very, I don't like to touch these books anymore, so I get a little bit in awe of the Superman 1. But beyond that, Green Lantern I love. That's just my love. No awe, but I just love seeing Green Lantern books.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Adam, for being here this year.
Yeah.
Hope to see you next year.
Oh, of course. Thanks. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Wait, did he say a 7.0 Superman?
Yep.
Yes.
So he's actually a director. He's a director of Selling Superman. It's a documentary that's coming out, I believe, next year. We had a conversation about it, and yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Mike, that's just one of the books that's in that collection.
Yeah.
It's while the film is focused around that one book, the collection itself is super rare, super high grade. It has a custom label that CGC gave them because it's such a unique. It's beyond anything that you've seen before. It's an amazing collection. Go check them out on Instagram. They already have like a mini trailer. They've had little trailers already put up on YouTube. I think early this year is when they started promoting it.
Yeah,
it's a big thing.
Yeah, it was cool to meet like Darren. He was the one that was the son of the owner that had all these books, and kind of talking to him off, just a little bit about what he's thinking and the film. And Adam was great to kind of explain what he's doing with the film, and I think it's going to be incredible when it comes out. Just kind of give people insight of this hobby, this industry, as far as the comic book community, and someone that bought a ton of books, and then how that relationship with the family, and so it should be a pretty cool documentary when it comes out. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
So Miller, did you walk out with any job prospects?
I did not. Maybe security for somebody, but not moving any books. It was pretty cool. But yeah,
were you tempted to buy anything?
There was a couple books that I was kind of going in. I was trying to save some money for this event coming up. I was like, let me put some money aside to see if I can, purchase a couple books. And I got in there and I was like, I'm gonna put that money back in my pocket. I'm not gonna be able to touch any of the books that I kind of want at a certain grade. So I was like, maybe next year.
Listen, there was duffel bag boys. Yeah. And then there was coin purse people.
Yep. Yeah. I was about a book and be like, all right, I'm done. I'll see you guys next year. Just left. It was tempting. It was tempting because there was a lot of books. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could have went in that savings account, but I was like, nope, I'm not going to do it to myself. So, man, it was cool to see. It was cool to see.
Yeah.
Cool to see. Something you probably won't, probably never see that again, as far as the number of books and the number of how much money was in that room on Saturday and Sunday. It was crazy.
Jeez.
All right. Let's go to another clip real quick.
Yeah.
All right. You guys know him and love him. Swaggle House is here. What brought you to Collector Summit this year?
Well, all my comic book buddies were like, you got to go to Collector Summit. It's the best show. People bring the best books, some of the most rare Golden Age stuff you're going to find in this room. So, I've never been before. I mean, I know it's kind of a newer show, but everyone's like, you got to come out. So, just got on the plane and hopped over, and here we are.
Great. Any books you're kind of looking for today?
I feel like in this room, you got to have Golden Age, you got to go for some Golden Age stuff. So I've been eyeing some early Captain Americas, things like that, and, some PCH stuff. So, if a good deal finds its way to my hands, that's probably what I would do.
All right. Great. Thanks for sharing your insight.
Yeah. So you guys know Swaggle. He's on YouTube, and he does a lot of videos on the market, and so it was cool to see him there interacting with some dealers and kind of what he was kind of interested in looking for. So he's a pretty cool guy. So
yeah, shout out to him for a numbers guy. Love what he does. Yeah, data
has an appreciation for that.
Oh yeah, I'm about that. So even he's looking at early books.
Yeah, early caps, Golden Age stuff. Like that's what that room was all about.
Some of our local friends went over there. Pedro, Lenny was there, and Aaron as well, right? So, what was from you watching them? What was their experience? Can you tell? Like, did they make any transactions as well?
Yeah. So, Pedro and Aaron, they made some transactions and made some things happen. They brought some books. I think Pedro bought from, traveling with almost 20 slabs, I think a little over 20 slabs from Florida, and some of his bigger books to kind of see what happens. And so was Aaron. It was cool because Lenny, as we know, is more of the presser and the cleaning the books, stuff like that. So he went in there kind of with a different mindset of, hey, let me meet some people. Let me see if I can generate some business, especially with those kind of people that have those kind of books. They probably need a cleaning and pressing. So I think he made some good connections talking to him after the fact, and Pedro and Aaron made some good deals. I was watching what they were doing and moving. So it's kind of, let me sit back and watch kind of some of those books that they were looking for. It was cool to see some of what they were looking for and kind of the reaction to some of the books. So
yeah, I've always enjoyed watching friends of mine's work their transactions. I respectfully watch from afar, of course, right?
Yeah,
I don't need additional people in it, but it's I've always had a lot of respect for them, man. It's all handshakes and everything, and then you get business, boom, and then you're back to handshakes, So speaking of Pedro, let's take a look at this.
All right, I'm here with Comic Lore. Comic, what brought you to Collector Summit this year?
I heard this is the place to be. This is like a big swap. Take a look around. Everybody's bringing big books. It's crazy. I actually didn't bring big books. These books are too small for what everybody's collecting. And I brought a giant selection 198, and that's still too small. That's how crazy this is. So that's what brought me here. I wanted to see for myself what this was like. Definitely coming again next year.
Okay. Are there any books or things you're looking for at this show?
I wanted a Detective 31. Nobody had one. But to be honest, I'm more overwhelmed than anything else. There's a lot of good stuff. I did want to upgrade a few of my books. There wasn't that here, but I made a lot of connections where I think I'm going to be able to get that after the show's done.
All right. Thanks, Comic Lord. See you next year.
You got it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can hear him mention he's looking for a DC book. I mean, DC was kind of what they were looking for, and you can hear like Giant Size didn't move 9.8. He had an ASM 100 9.8 for that didn't move. Like those books that you and I would be like, man, that's a grail that's going on the wall, that's going in the safe. Those were kind of just sitting there. People were like, seen it. So people were really after those books you don't see, and it was kind of cool.
Most importantly though for him is making the connections, because it's networking.
Yeah,
that's networking is important.
Yeah. And then once the people can kind of see you, they can kind of see what books you have, they know you're legit, and then it's easy to trust someone when you actually meet them in person. You can maybe see what they have as far as books and kind of what you want, and it's easy to make a deal, I feel, especially on that level where you're talking tens of thousands of dollars on a book, swap or trade or cash in a book. And so those pretty cool to see. So yeah, you guys might have to come out here next year and kind of experience this. It's one of those things where once you go to it, you're like, holy crap, there's different levels to this. That's what I left with. I was like, okay.
There's a level to this game.
There's those A-tier people, and I was in a building with a bunch of them.
While the numbers are big, right? It's significant numbers. I wouldn't take it. Here's the way I'm taking it. I'm walking away inspired, because as we're having this conversation, I'm looking back at how my collection began, right? I started with back issues. I started with $3 books, and I still have a lot of $3 books, and I love them, right? I like my collection. But then it changed, right? Then you start stepping up into, and we've had this conversation. Once you spend $50 on a book, $50 just you don't feel that pressure. Then you step to hundreds, and then you go the first $1,000 book you spent. Yeah, you feel tight. You feel a little weird, like this. Am I making a good decision here? Whatever the case. But the next one just doesn't feel that way no more, because now you've mentally prepared, and financially, hopefully, you're doing it right. So you start buying bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger books, and you use the collection to get to the bigger books. The books that these guys are selling are part of their collection that they're using to get to something more. There's always that additional grail. There's always that other grail after that grail. After you get that one, it's the other one. And for me personally, I'm like, this is actually it's an inspirational for me.
Yeah,
agreed.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you go after Superman 1? Like
that event. That event.
You just get into it at a lower grade, right? And then if that's your book, then you're kind of moving and trading throughout the year, possibly to have enough funds to come up with money for a Superman #1. But you're kind of focused on that book. It seemed like people were kind of really focused. I kind of had you hear some of the interviews there that they were really focused on books they were looking for, and maybe have saved or made some trades and deals to get to that level to be able to get that book they were looking for. As far as
being prepared, having a list, even on a smaller scale, right? 20 let's say you have a $400 limit for when you go to the next con, having that list and knowing what the prices are on the books, it's important. You got to do your homework before you show up so that you know if the book is priced correctly at that grade. And what does everybody always ask you when you go to their booth? What are you looking for?
Yeah.
Right. And I remember when I first started going to cons, I was like, I'm not really sure. I'm just looking around. That doesn't really help them help you. Right. Yeah. And then the more seasoned I became, I'm like, oh, hold on 1 second. Let me get my list. I'm looking for this, and this. Oh, I don't have it. All right, cool. Well, I'm still going to look through boxes, but
yeah. I think too, like once you start down that rabbit hole, as far as buying those books, people know what you're looking for. Kind of a sense of like, all right, this person's legit. They're not going to come up there and say, hey, you had a Batman #2 and not buy it. They're going to be like, okay, that's the book I want. I'm going to buy it. And then you kind of start building that, relationship with that person, and they're kind of help you get into maybe a better copy of that book, maybe a different key if you want to trade up. So, we in this community have people kind of looking out for you as far as like, hey, I know that you love Batman. Let me help you, get a collection, or if there's something you're really focused on, they're going to try to help you get that book or that grail that you're looking for. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was cool that one other thing too, they had at Heritage, they do auctions, and then so they gave everyone one of these books, and they're having an auction actually next weekend, the 16th through the 19th, and they do a preview of like all these books that they're selling, like
wow,
and prices and what they're starting at, and it's just a index of keys, all big books, all high grades, and they give you all the data on this. So everyone got one of these at the auction house. It was pretty cool to see kind of some of the stuff that Heritage is doing as well. And you can, if you want, you can co-sign your book to Heritage. There's a fee involved, but you could give your book to them to try to move as well. So,
notice that he opened to a DC Batman.
Yeah,
that was the first thing I saw. I was like, straight to Batman.
All these books in the back, yeah.
But you know what's funny? As soon as I saw the catalog, I remember the old Finger Hut catalogs.
Oh, back in the day.
Be old enough, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this one, it says is fine 60219 for Batman.
Batman.
Yep.
And it's a purple label.
Purple label.
Batman #1, 219. So that's this kind of stuff that'll be at the auction next weekend. So you can log in. I know a couple guys were waiting for the auction. There's a couple guys I talked to that, made some deals, made some sales to try to get into either a better book they're looking for. I know specifically Aaron, he moved his Wonder Woman and is hoping to get another one. So he's kind of waiting to see, hey, let me upgrade this,
Which Wonder Woman?
#1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Not the George Perez #1.
I got that 9.8. I got that one. I can go to Heritage. I gotta
we gotta get Aaron to come out again, man, on Thursday.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, shout out to him.
All right. Man. Well, did you find awards?
I think everyone should, if you have the time and you have some money and you're kind of hunting Golden Age books, I think this is a perfect event to show up for. You'll find, I believe you'll find what you're looking for. And if you have a chance to come out, man, I think it's worth it. So
nice.
All right. So you guys, if you decide to go next year, hit up Real Deal on Instagram. He'll give you the tour guide. Yep. He's a pro at this now.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I'll try to help you out if you guys want to show up. So let me know.
Yeah. And on that note, we say peace.